We're often told that the unexamined life is not worth living. But what happens when you take that idea way too far? Today, we are talking about a really strange paradox. The harder you try to maximize your happiness, the less of it you actually seem to feel. We're going to dive deep into something called the efficiency trap, where your brain's constant obsession with making things better actually becomes a biological barrier to ever feeling good.
All right, let's get into it. Here's the plan. First, we'll look at this core conflict between building your life versus actually inhabiting it. Then we'll diagnose this modern efficiency trap and the anxiety that comes with it. We're going to map out the brain's endless optimization loop and understand the ancient survival script that's driving all of this. And then, the best part, we'll get into a practical toolkit for learning how to be inefficient so you can finally, truly experience the life you're actually present for. So let's start with this central conflict. It's this tension that so many of us feel, but we can't quite put our finger on. It's that bizarre feeling of being the architect, the project manager, and the critic of your own life, all at the same time, which leaves absolutely no room to just be the resident.
I mean, this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It is the key to this whole conversation. It's the perfect description of the chronic optimizer. You spend all your time drawing up the blueprints for this amazing, perfect life, but you never actually move in. You're always standing outside, clipboard in hand, inspecting the work, instead of being inside, enjoying the home you've built.
And this leads us straight to what we can call the optimization paradox. The goal, of course, is to maximize your happiness, but the result? You actually feel less happy. So what's going on here? Well, it's because the very act of measuring an experience, of grading it, biologically stops you from surrendering to it. This relentless chase for a perfect 10 out of 10 moment makes a really wonderful 8 out of 10 feel like a complete failure. So let's move from just the feeling to an actual diagnosis. Let's give this thing a name: the modern efficiency trap. This is what happens when that healthy, normal desire for self-improvement kind of goes rogue. It turns into this constant, 24/7 internal audit of your entire existence. Seriously, think about this. I bet this sounds familiar. You're somewhere beautiful, a place you worked hard to get to, and instead of feeling relaxed, there's this low-grade hum of anxiety. You're worried you're not seeing all the right things, or eating at the best places, or even relaxing in the most optimal way. This is the trap in action. Your leisure time, which is supposed to recharge you, just becomes another performance that you have to manage and grade.
Or how about this one? The simple act of just watching a movie turns into this whole negotiation with your inner project manager. You know that little voice whispering, you could be listening to an educational podcast right now, or at least folding laundry. If that feels familiar, it's because your inner optimizer treats every single moment as a resource to be squeezed, not an experience to be lived.
Believe it or not, this feeling actually has a name. It's called hedonic delay. Your enjoyment is perpetually put on hold because your mind has already left the present. It's scouting ahead, trying to optimize the next moment, which means you never fully arrive in this one. And listen, this isn't some kind of personal failing. It has a very real biological basis. So what's actually going on inside your head? Well, you can think of it like a neurological civil war. On one side, you've got your prefrontal cortex, your PFC, which is like the brain's CEO. It's always analyzing, judging, optimizing. And on the other side, you have the ventral striatum. Let's just call it your joy center. Now, here's the absolute key. These two systems are basically mutually exclusive. When your PFC is in overdrive, constantly asking, "Am I having enough fun yet?" it chemically muffles the signal from your joy center. You literally cannot analyze an experience and fully enjoy it at the very same time. And this brain conflict creates a very specific kind of emotional fallout: maximizer's anxiety. This is that constant, nagging feeling of opportunity cost that shadows every decision you make. You spend an hour researching the absolute best coffee shop in a new city. But then, as you're drinking the coffee, your mind is just plagued by the thought that maybe, just maybe, the place 2 blocks over was a tiny bit better. Every choice, big or small, turns into this high-stakes test that you feel like you can fail. And living this way has real, tangible costs. First off, there's ego depletion. This isn't just feeling tired. Your brain is a metabolic organ, and the sheer cognitive load of constant optimization is exhausting. You're basically burning through all your mental fuel just managing your life. Then it traps you in what's called future tense living. You're always waiting for that perfected version of yourself to show up before you let yourself enjoy life. But that perfected self, it never arrives, because the optimizer always finds a new flaw to work on. And this leads to the ultimate terrible trade-off. You end up sacrificing your own well-being for a fragile sense of competence that never ever feels like it's enough.
Now, this is so important to understand. This is not a character flaw. You're not broken. You are just caught in a predictable reinforcing cycle that your brain gets stuck in. Let's call it the maximation evaluation loop.
So here's how this loop plays out. Step 1, an average experience happens and your brain sees it as a threat, as wasted potential. Step 2, your prefrontal cortex immediately launches an audit, asking, how can this be better? Step 3, you start measuring the moment instead of just merging with it. Step 4, this critical state actually blocks reward chemicals like dopamine, so the experience feels flat. And then, Step 5, the cruel twist. Your brain concludes that the problem wasn't the process, it's that you just didn't optimize hard enough, so it tries even harder next time, locking you deeper and deeper into this cycle.
So the big question is, why? Why on earth would our brains get stuck in a loop that is so clearly self-defeating? Well, the answer is that this isn't a modern bug. It's actually an ancient feature. Your brain is just running a very old survival script in a very new world.
So here's the crucial point. Your brain evolved, above all else, to be an uncertainty reduction machine. It hates surprises. For our ancestors, uncertainty meant danger, a predator hiding in the grass, a poisonous plant. And in a chaotic world, optimization provides a powerful illusion of control. If you can track it, measure it, and plan it, you feel like you can control it. And that soothes your brain's ancient fear of the unknown, even if it comes at the cost of your happiness right now.
Now, on a network level, this is a battle between two key systems. You have the task-positive network, the TPN, which is your brain's doing network. It's the engine for all that optimizing. Then you have the default mode network, the DMN, which is your being network. It's active when your mind is just wandering. In chronic optimizers, that TPN engine is always revving. And all that doing completely suppresses the DMN, which is exactly where feelings of flow and presence and creativity come from.
And this really gets at the social part of that old survival script. I mean, for our ancestors, survival depended on being a useful member of the tribe. Your brain is still running that same software. It prioritizes your productivity score over your own internal peace, because deep down, it still thinks your value and your safety is determined by what you can produce for the group.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem, we understand the mechanics, and we know where it comes from. Now for the good part. Let's talk about the prescription. And this isn't about giving up on your goals. It's about developing a powerful new skill, intentional inefficiency. Let's open up the toolkit. So the main strategy here is to make a conscious shift from maximizing to something called satisficing. It's a mix of the words satisfy and suffice, and it just means choosing the first option that meets your good enough criteria instead of agonizing over finding the absolute theoretical best. And this isn't about settling for a mediocre life. It's actually a strategic decision to save your precious mental energy for what really matters.
And here's a fantastic, practical way to do that. It's called the 70% perfect rule. Instead of aiming for 100% on everything, consciously aim for 70%. Go for the B-. What this does is, it gives your prefrontal cortex explicit permission to just, relax its hypercritical filter. It lowers the stakes. And in that little bit of space you create, the joy centers of your brain finally have a chance to light up. So go ahead, pick a restaurant without reading all 50 reviews. Just go for a run to enjoy it. Don't worry about your pace. Aim for good enough.
All right, here are 3 more tools for your new inefficiency toolkit. First, schedule an efficiency Sabbath. Create a protected dead zone in your week, an hour, an afternoon, whatever you can manage, with 0 tracking and 0 goals. No step counts, no calorie apps, no self-help podcasts, just be. Second, practice somatic interoception. The moment you catch yourself analyzing an experience, drop out of your head and into your body. Shift from analysis to sensation. What does this coffee actually taste like? And third, label the itch. When you feel that urge to optimize Bubble Up, just notice it and name it. There's my brain trying to optimize this sunset. That simple act of labeling creates a tiny space, and in that space, you get to choose presence instead.
Okay, so for our final piece, let's zoom all the way out. We have the tools now, but what are we actually aiming for? This really requires us to redefine the entire goal of a well-lived life. This is probably the most important distinction we can make. The goal is not to kill your inner optimizer. I mean, your prefrontal cortex is an incredible tool. It lets you plan and achieve incredible things. The real goal is to gain agency over it. It's about realizing that optimization is a powerful tool you should pick up when you need it, for a work project, for your finances,
but that you must also learn when to put it down. It is a fantastic tool for survival, but it is a terrible strategy for living.
And this brings us right to our final, most crucial takeaway. All the productivity systems, all the life hacks in the world, they are completely meaningless if you aren't psychologically present to actually experience the life they help you build. True freedom isn't found in reaching some perfected future state. It's found in the ability to let go, to be inefficient, and to fully inhabit the messy, imperfect, beautiful life that you have right now. The best version of your life is simply the one you show up for.